Welcome.
Welcome to Real Human Voices.
Reading really old books. Hello, everyone. I am Hair Bear.
And I am Ink.
And we are Real Human Voices.
Reading really old books. So I'm just a bit off kilter because I just finished my Duolingo and got my monthly badge, so I'm quite chuffed.
I still need to catch up. I need to build my statue for the weekend.
Well, I've just done it.
Oof.
We're not promoting, we just use these things. Really old CDs getting involved as well, doing the really old books. We nearly did oh crikey, what was it called? I can't remember who it was, but we nearly did a kind of like a different sort of play, a short play from a comedy from I think it was Goldsmith actually. But
Yes.
then we were like, let's finish off Jeeves and Wooster.
Yeah.
So we thought, yeah, we'd finish off that one instead, if that's okay, Dee. How are you doing today? How's your day been? How are things going?
Oh, it started on really old books? Interesting. Played through the whole way when I started it. Maybe it took a second to catch up.
We're a bit late. From my fault, really.
Yeah, you'd think that even starting late though, it would have played the whole intro.
It is very, very, very odd.
Well. Watching WrestleMania. Okay. Nice.
Don't get me started. I used to love watching the wrestling on a Saturday morning with my friends Maria and Angie when I still did social things. And this is way back in my 20s. And we'd eat cold pizza from Domino's from the night before. And we'd watch the wrestling and just kind of read books and watch that and just all kind of hang out, just feeling rather, all the binks, feeling rather rough around the edges. I loved it until I actually saw somebody, had a kind of I was dating a guy who was so obsessed with wrestling. He would sit there for ages and write lists and lists and lists of the perfect matchups. It just, and everything was about wrestling. I mean, I love a passion. I mean, at the end of the day, if you're into something, crack on. But it didn't help that he set fire to my kitchen either.
There's that. There's hobbies, there's passions, and then there's fixations.
Yeah, 4 hours show with night. You see, that's just that's gratuitous.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. That's why I lose interest in some shows where it's it just ends up being filler, and it just you find yourself watching, hoping something interesting happens that episode. It's okay, forget this.
Yeah, he did, and he knew where they started from. He knew all the different areas they wrestled in. He even did the whole Japanese wrestling, with the chick with the standing up hair. But the thing is, Mick Foley has always been my favorite wrestler. Always. I love Mankind. I think he's absolutely awesome.
I was going to say that he was the one that did Robot Wars, wasn't he?
Yes, but he's also, what I like is that he's an incredibly astute and intelligent man. And he's actually just done a post as well where he's actually left WrestleMania. So he's actually left the wrestling company, I believe. And he's just gone, nope, yes, that's the one. See, there you go. You know it, D. Are you sure? Your name starts with D, so you can't possibly be the person I knew. But yeah, she was incredible, though, wasn't she? I said, it's not I didn't like wrestling. It's just the joy of it was absolutely sucked dry. It was no. Everything was wrestling all day, every day. It was just, yeah. Anyway, but yeah, he kind of this was the one where I kind of the first time in my life that I nearly I nearly left this world due to a medical condition. And I was out for a few days, and then when I got back home, he had a whole ton of people in my home smoking the devil's lettuce, and there was a whole tray of freaking chicken thighs in my kitchen that he was cooking, smoking away, and he was just about to set fire to my kitchen, and that's what I came down to. So I was like, I don't think you should be here anymore. Seriously, go away. Never visited me once, just stayed back and.
Yeah,
such joy. But you know what they say, if everybody around you is the a-hole, you've got to consider if you're actually the a-hole. World of sport. Oh my goodness. Do you remember Eurosports as well with the Aussie rules football and the sumo wrestling? That was awesome. I mean, I love me sports, don't get me wrong, but I mean, I do enjoy like world sports, like hurling from Ireland, which is awesome. You could take your freaking racket sports anywhere else and just go away. If you haven't played hurling, you haven't lived.
Which one's hurling?
Hurling is when it's all out warfare with big sticks. It's kind of like what's the one with the rackets that the lads run around with in America?
Oh, lacrosse.
Yeah. Lacrosse. It's kind of like lacrosse, but with baseball bats.
God.
I know.
Well, that sounds interesting.
I'll show you some later on.
Yeah. Honestly, the two sports I find interesting to watch are lacrosse and rugby, and Aussie rules would probably be similar to rugby. It sounds like it's similar to rugby.
I've subjected you to a lot of Aussie rules football.
Yeah, it's
watching a lot of it.
That's right. That's right. Yeah, and yeah. It's almost it's a lot like watching rugby, and it's just interesting to watch. There's stuff actually happening, you know. Like there's a lot of games that I'm sure are fun enough to play, but watching them is like boring.
Exactly, and football being the primary one of that. I remember football in the 80s.
So
you do, D. Back in the 80s when it was actually fun, and that was something else where basically when the big corporations came along and everything was sponsored and footballers started to be paid £500,000 a week, which I'm sorry, but that's just wrong. There's no need. I know their careers are short, but seriously, that's their choice. They should get a freaking vocation before they start playing football. I digress. But the thing is, like football to me is disingenuous. It's all about the show. It's all about the fast cars and the kind of, the lifestyle and everything. But literally, get on the pitch, you go, and you blow at them, they bonk, fall on the floor. It's pathetic. It's like there's more people falling over and screaming foul than actually playing the game. And I think, Bear, your favourite examples about women's football, which I'm sorry, women's football is a lot better than men's football.
No, that made an impression. It's because when I think of the men's football, I think of the guy laying on the ground, rolling in pain, grabbing his ankle, and there's nothing wrong with him because somebody brushed by him. And then the image I have of women's football is the girl with the kneecap that was dislodged off to the side and her punching it back into place to get back in the game. It's like, good God.
Exactly, Dee. But yeah, that last she was incredible. Literally, she was like, nope. I saw one a couple of days ago about a young lass who was, I believe, Japanese, and she was either karate or she was judo, but her finger kept dislocating. And she was like, oh, no. And then the referee would help her put it back into place again. She went back and she tried again, and then it dislocated again. She's like, and she's like, I'm not having this. But she kept going back, even though her finger kept dislocating. I was like, you're a champ, you. But I am a massive fan of rugby, as you know, whether it's men's rugby or women's rugby, but it has to be union for me. Obviously, I'm a massive fan of the All Blacks. They're probably my favourite team. Like just all the way. But then again, there's also Tonga. They're also funny. I think, to be honest, the strongest rugby players and the most powerful physically are Polynesians. You know, anybody who's like Polynesian is generally who plays rugby. Yeah, I mean, that is one thing about it. The haka is phenomenal. But the agility, yet with sheer strength, is bloody lovely. It's fantastic. Oh my goodness. You see, it's not just me. Yes, you can wind up the American football fans because I normally say American football, first of all, hand egg, American hand oval. American football is literally rugby with lots of padding so they don't get hurt.
And it's not as like American football. It's they set up, they go for a play, and then they stop. And they set up and they go for a play, and then they stop. Rugby, they're just go and go and go and go and go, and like they might stop if somebody gets like disemboweled or something. You know, it's
exactly. You know, and the rock and roll of rugby is something to be told. It's like it's kind of like you said, if they get disemboweled, they might kind of like stick
Yeah.
a plaster on it, but rub a bit of dirt in it. It'll
Or
be
just
fine.
kind
It's
of,
like,
just kind
pull their
of, just kind
intestines
of
off,
nudge,
stick them back
nudge
in
it off to
again.
the side. Yeah, nudge it off to the side and keep going. You know.
Yeah, getting off the pitch. It might slip. We're going to slip. That'll give us more speed.
It's a hazard. That is.
That's not a hazard. That's enhancing the game. But yeah, rugby is the sport of kings as far as I'm concerned. I mean, I get that people like football. I do. It's like if you enjoy football or American football, that's fine. That's your
American
sport.
football, they have to hold the ball for the kickers, or the rugby, they do it on the run and kick it halfway across the pitch. It's freaking insane.
It's bloody lovely. Absolutely bloody lovely. Johnny, I'm terrible with names, but it's kind of like one of my favorite lineups was, he was blonde and I can't remember his name. Oh, bloody hell. But he would actually put both of his thumbs together. You know, when you were a kid and you'd get a blade of grass and you blow it through your thumbs?
Yep.
Well, he basically put his hands together, interlace his fingers, his thumbs would be pointed forward. And that was how he would get his lineup for his kick. And he'd get it every single time. Best kicker. Absolutely best picker for England rugby. Absolute superstar. But yeah, so rugby players are the best. They are pretty awesome. And they're generally massive units.
Just the amount of pressure they have to deal with in the scrum is incredible.
Yeah, that's why they normally take the top of their ears. Basketball, and that wasn't
Basketball.
the time. Basketball is the film, or
that was it was actually a sport that was made from the film, wasn't it?
Oh, I'm interested and intrigued. Tell me more.
I don't know. I don't know about it. I'm just guessing. But I think I remember hearing that they made up the sport in the movie, and they actually like made the sport after it. Am I on base? Am I off base? Pun intended.
I'm not sure, but Vince Vaughn is legendary. He's one of my favorite actors of all time.
Oh, Vince Vaughn's awesome.
Yeah, well, probably one of my favorite contemporary actors, like in the last 30 years.
Oh, the film.
Okay. Yay! I said it was the film. Yay! I win. I win. But that's cool. That's pretty cool. And we like this. So what time are we on? What time are we on? So we're coming up to 1:45. I think just generally a good idea to kind of like wait until 1:45 to, you know, get everybody in and comfy and cozy. And then we can start reading and stuff.
Sorry.
Did you just now respond? Now, I've
how? Like freaking how?
Because wizards are real. Wizard. I can't do it.
You're a wizard, Harry.
I was trying to do my Dobby impression, but my throat wouldn't let me.
You're a wizard, Harry.
That's it.
Dry up, Dursley, you great prune.
I've never read the books and I've never watched the films all through. How can they play Quidditch? Is that the same like those lasses that go around on hobby horses, pretending they're ponies? Have you seen them? You know the hobby horse, which is like a horse's head with two handles either side.
Oh, yeah.
And then it's got a long paw, and the kind of like it's got two little wheels sometimes at the end of it. And they kind of like go romping around on the floor.
One of my favorite one of my favorite ways to that I've heard to say yes, absolutely was from the cowboy movie with Woody Harrelson, where they asked him if he was in, and he says, "The hobby horse have a hickory dick? Of course I'm in."
Oh, that is brilliant. Oh, that was outstanding. What was the other one you were coming up with yesterday? Oh,
which one?
Crikey. Oh, there's so many. I don't mean, no. Oh my goodness, you were quoting the Canadians. I can't think of anything today, I tell you.
Quoting the Canadians.
The Canadian big tall lad with flannel. That was most Canadians. I'm sorry. Oh God, what's it? It's the show where there's 10 seasons in the show.
Letterkenny.
That's the badger.
Letterkenny, yeah. Where he's like, let's have a Donnybrook. Look at that treasure trail. Your esthetician coiffed that for you? You can kiss my esthetician. You guys do CrossFit? You can fuck off. Yeah. Oh yeah. That's the classic.
Letterkenny quotes for the win. We love it. We love it.
Yeah.
Actually, Dee, that's something else. Before we begin, I was going to suggest. I'm really, for my passion and loves of things, I would really like to do either the epistemology of words from the Middle Ages, or daft customs from the Middle Ages to present day, but done in a fun sort of way. I thought that'd be a nice little segment for the lives as well. What do you reckon, Dee? Do you reckon that'd be a good thing? That's the question. Like, don't make me type stuff. I just want to listen to old books. Reading really old books, in fact.
Yeah, you're the only one here talking, Dee. So it's all on you. You're under pressure.
Yeah. I've never seen
reboots.
Reboots of Malcolm in the Middle.
Reboots or repeats. Because I don't know if they've rebooted Malcolm in the Middle.
Yay, I like that. I will get some of that done next week for Sundays, I think. We'll have the news on Saturdays and we'll do that on Sundays. Awesome. But yeah, Malcolm in the Middle reboots. I think I saw something advertised on YouTube. I'm not sure. I also saw one for Raymond.
Everyone loves Raymond. A reboot?
I don't know. They were really sad, and it was a reunion, I think, and I didn't want to watch it because it was literally within not dissing anybody, because obviously they're probably really funny, but they were kind of like getting together and introducing everybody, and they just seemed really sad. I was like, why are you so sad? They did a 4-episode miniseries featuring the same characters 20 years on.
Oh wow,
that's interesting. I've not seen the show though. I wish I had. That's
the one with the dude from Breaking Bad played the father, right? Am I thinking of the right one?
I don't know.
That's the one I think I remember seeing a clip from it where he comes in and offers the son money to admit that the son did something that he actually did, so he can blame him and not be in trouble with his wife.
Nice.
Bryan Cranston, yeah.
We like this. Well,
yes. Anyhow,
it's gone past 1:45. It's the 10:02, in fact.
Shall we go back to Bertie and Wooster? Wooster, Jeeves and Wooster, even.
Yes.
We
should go back to Jeeves and Wooster. So we basically got the summary of that was they're getting a ghostwriter to write a book so that Alas is looking good in the eyes of an older uncle in society who is a jute.
Yes, there's the guy who is the artist, and his uncle who holds the purse strings. Wouldn't approve of the woman he wants to marry just because he's the one that wants to marry him. Yes,
on toast.
Indeed,
with tomato ketchup and or Worcester sauce if you feel like it.
Worcester sauce.
So we pick it up halfway through from yesterday's episode. So if you haven't heard it already, then and you want to hear the first half of this one, if you want to go back to yesterday's episode, which was number 13, today's episode is number 14, and we have the second half of Jeeves and Wooster's. I can't remember the name of the chapter.
I believe this one is just Leave It to Jeeves.
Leave It to Jeeves. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, we've got this.
Let's get back to the same page. There we go.
So we're professional. We are.
Oh yeah. No, we're not.
Speak for your bloody self, you cheeky bugger.
You are a professional narrator, absolutely.
Yes. That's right. Not with this voice though right now.
There we are.
Saying. Do you want to start with shortly after this? I had to go out of town. Just pick it up again there.
Yeah, so we left off just after it was published, and the uncle was going to invite her around, and yes, that's really so. We pick it up as Bertie has to go out of town afterwards, right? Shortly after this,
indicated by him saying shortly after this, I had to go out.
Indeed. Shortly after this, I had to go out of town. Cheeky Divers Sound sportsmen had invited me to pay visits to their country places, and it wasn't for several months that I settled down in the city again. I had been wondering a lot, of course, about Corky, whether it all turned out all right and so forth. And my first evening in New York, happening to pop into a quiet sort of little restaurant, which I go into when I feel inclined for the bright lights, I found Muriel Singer there, sitting by herself at a table near the door. Corky, I took it, was out telephoning. I went up and passed the time of day. Oh, well, what? I said.
Why, Mr. Wooster, how do you do?
Corky around?
I beg your pardon?
You're waiting for Corky, aren't you?
Oh, I didn't understand. No, I'm not waiting for him.
It seemed to me that there was a sort of something in her voice, a kind of thingamy, you know. I say, you haven't had a row with Corky, have you?
A row?
A spat, don't you know? A little misunderstanding, faults on both sides, and all that sort of thing.
Why, whatever makes you think that?
Oh, well, as it were, what I mean is, I thought you usually dined with him before you went to the theatre.
I've left the stage now.
Suddenly, the whole thing dawned on me. I had forgotten what long time I had been away. Why, of course, I see now. You're married.
Yes.
How perfectly topping. I wish you all kinds of happiness.
Thank you so much. Oh, Alexander,
she said, looking past me.
This is a friend of mine, Mr. Wooster.
I spun round. A chappie with a lot of stiff grey hair and a red sort of healthy face was standing there. Rather a formidable Johnny he looked, though quite peaceful at the moment.
I want you to meet my husband, Mr. Wooster. Mr. Wooster is a friend of Bruce's, Alexander.
The old boy grasped my hand warmly, and that was all that kept me from hitting the floor in a heap. The place was rocking, absolutely.
So you know my nephew, Mr. Wooster?
I heard him say.
I wish you would try to knock a little sense into him and make him quit this playing at painting. But I have an idea that he's steadying down. I noticed it first that night he came to dinner with us, my dear, to be introduced to you. He seemed altogether quieter and more serious. Something seemed to have sobered him. Perhaps you will give us the pleasure of your company at dinner tonight, Mr. Wooster. Or have you dined?
I said that I had. What I needed then was air, not dinner. I felt that I wanted to get out into the open and think this out. When I reached my apartment, I heard Jeeves moving about in his lair. I called him. Jeeves, I said, now is the time for all good men to come to the aid of the party. A stiff B&S, first of all, and I've got a bit of news for you. I have wondered exactly what B&S. I'm thinking the S is either
brandy and soda. It's got to
brandy
be.
and soda. That's what I was thinking. It's like something in soda, but brandy. Yeah, that would work for the 20s, wouldn't it? Anyways, he came back with a tray and a long glass.
Hey, Northman. Hi. Sorry.
Hey, Northman. Better have one for yourself, Jeeves. You'll need it.
Later on, perhaps. Thank you, sir.
All right, please yourself. But you're going to get a shock. You remember my friend Mr. Corcoran?
Yes, sir.
And the girl who was to slide gracefully into his uncle's esteem by writing a book on birds?
Perfectly, sir.
Well, she's slid. She's married the uncle. He took it without blinking. You can't rattle Jeeves.
That was always a development to be feared, sir.
You don't mean to tell me that you were expecting it?
It crossed my mind, the possibility.
Did it, by Jove? Well, you might have warned us.
I hardly like to take the liberty, sir.
Of course, as I saw it after I had a bite to eat and was in a calmer frame of mind, what had happened wasn't my fault, if you come down to it. I couldn't be expected to foresee the scheme foresee that the scheme, in itself a crackerjack, would skid into the ditch as it had done. But all the same, I'm bound to admit that I didn't relish the idea of meeting Corky again until Time, the great healer, had been able to do a bit of soothing work. I cut Washington Square out completely for the next few months. I gave it the complete miss in baulk. And then, just when I was beginning to think I might safely pop down into that direction and gather up the dropped threads, so to speak, Time, instead of working the healing wheeze, went and pulled the most awful bone and put the lid on it. Opening the paper the morning, I saw that Mrs. Alexander Warble had presented her husband with a son and heir. I was so darn sorry for poor old Corky that I hadn't the heart to touch my breakfast. I told Jeeves to drink it himself. I was
Nice.
bowled over. Absolutely, it was the limit. I hardly knew what to do. Of course, to rush down to Washington Square and grip the poor blighter silently by the hand, and then, thinking it over, I hadn't the nerve. Absent treatment seemed the touch. Hang on a second, Mr. I gave it to him in waves, but after a month or so, I began to hesitate again. It struck me that it was playing a bit low down on the poor chap, avoiding him like this just when he probably wanted his pals to surge around with the most. I pictured him sitting in his lonely studio with no company but his bitter thoughts, and the pathos of it got me to such an extent that I bounded straight into a taxi and told the driver to go all out for the studio. I rushed in, and there was Corky hunched up at the easel, painting away, while on the model throne sat a severe-looking female of middle age holding a baby. A fellow who has to be ready for that sort of thing. I said, and started to back out. Corky looked over his shoulder.
Hello, buddy. Don't go. We're just finishing for the day. That will be all this afternoon,
he said to the nurse, who got up with the baby and decanted it into a perambulator. I like that. And decanted it into a perambulator, which was standing in the fairway.
At the same hour tomorrow, Mr. Corcoran.
Yes, please.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Corky stood there looking at the door, then turned to me and began to get it off his chest. Fortunately, he seemed to take it for granted that I knew all about what had happened, so it wasn't as awkward as it might have been.
It's my uncle's idea.
He said.
Muriel doesn't know about it yet. The portrait's to be a surprise for her on her birthday. The nurse takes a kid out ostensibly to get a breather, and they beat it down here. If you want an instance of the irony of fate, Bertie, get acquainted with this. Here's the first commission I've ever had to paint a portrait, and the sitter is that human poached egg that has butted in and bounced me out of my inheritance. Can you beat it? I call it rubbing the thing in to expect me to spend my afternoons gazing into the ugly face of a little brat who, to all intents and purposes, has hit me behind the ear with a blackjack and swiped all I possess. I can't refuse to paint the portrait, because if I did, my uncle would stop my allowance. Yet every time I look up and catch that kid's vacant eye, I suffer agonies. I tell you, Buddy, sometimes when he gives me a patronizing glance and then turns away and is sick, as if revolted him to look at me, I come within an ace of occupying the entire front page of the evening papers as the latest murder sensation. There are moments when I can almost see the headlines, promising young artist, Beans baby with an axe.
God damn.
How did I get through that?
that was brilliant. Very well done. You got back to you've got back into your New York patter very well.
Trying.
Very done. Very well done. I patted his shoulder silently. My sympathy for the poor old scout was too deep for words. I kept away from the studio for a time after that because it didn't seem right to me to intrude on the poor old chappie's sorrow. Oh, one moment.
Dun dun dun, dead space. Oh yes.
Sorry, I just had to take a moment.
Thanks.
I kept away from the studio for a time after that because it didn't seem right to me to intrude on the poor chappie's sorrow. Besides, I'm bound to say that the nurse intimidated me. She reminded me so infernally of Aunt Agatha. She was the same gimlet-eyed type.
Nice.
But one afternoon, Corky called me on the phone.
Bertie.
Hello?
Are you doing anything this afternoon?
Nothing special.
You couldn't come down here, could you?
What's the trouble? Anything up?
I finished the portrait.
Good boy. Stout work.
Yeah.
His voice sounded rather doubtful.
The fact is, Bertie, it doesn't look quite right to me. There's something about it. My uncle's coming in half an hour to inspect it, and I don't know why it is, but I kind of feel like I'd like your moral support. Blah.
I began to see that I was letting myself in for something. The sympathetic cooperation of Jeeves seemed to me to be indicated. You think he'll cut it up rough?
He might just.
I threw my mind back to the red-faced chappie I met at the restaurant and tried to picture him cutting it up rough. It was only too easy. I spoke to Corky firmly on the telephone. "I'll come," I said.
Good.
"But only if I may bring Jeeves."
Why, Jeeves? What's Jeeves got to do with it? Who wants Jeeves? Jeeves is the fool who suggested the scheme that has led to...
"Listen, Corky, old top. If you think I'm going to face that uncle of yours without Jeeves' support, you're mistaken. I'd sooner go into a den of wild beasts and bite the lion on the back of the neck,"
Oh, all right.
said Corky, not cordially, but he said it, so I rang for Jeeves and explained the situation.
Very good, sir.
Said Jeeves. "That's the sort of chap he is. You can't rattle him." We found Corky near the door, looking at the picture, with one hand up in a defensive sort of way, as if he thought it might swing on him.
Sorry, I was yawning.
That's okay,
Stand right where you are, Bertie.
he said without moving.
Now tell me honestly, how does it strike you?
The light from the big window fell right on the picture. I took a good look at it. Then I shifted a bit nearer and took another look. Then went back to where I had been first, because it hadn't seemed quite so bad from there,
Well,
said Corky anxiously. I hesitated a bit. "Of course, old man, I only saw the kid once, and then only for a moment, but it was an ugly sort of kid, wasn't it, if I remember rightly?"
as ugly as that.
I looked again, and honesty compelled me to be frank. "I don't see how it could have been, old chap." Poor old Corky ran his fingers through his hair in a temperamental sort of way. He groaned.
You're quite right, Bertie. Something's gone wrong with the darn thing. My private impression is that without knowing it, I've worked that stunt that Sergeant and those old fellows pull, painting the soul of the sitter. I've got through the more outward appearance and have put the child's soul on canvas.
But could a child of that age have a soul like that? I don't see how he could have managed it in that time. What do you think, Jeeves?
I doubt it, sir.
It sort of leers at you, doesn't it?
You've noticed that too,
said Corky. I don't see how anyone could help noticing.
All I tried to do was give the little brute a cheerful expression, but as it worked out, he looks positively dissipated.
Just what I was going to suggest, old man. He looks as if he was in the middle of a colossal spree and enjoying every minute of it. Don't you think so, Jeeves?
He has a decidedly inebriated air, sir.
Corky was starting to say something when the door opened, and the uncle came in. For about 3 seconds, all was joy, jollity, and goodwill. The old boy shook hands with me, slapped Corky on the back, said he didn't think he had ever seen such a fine day, and whacked his leg with a stick. Jeeves had projected himself into the background, and he didn't notice him.
Well, Bruce, my boy, so the portrait is really finished, is it? Really finished? Well, bring it out. Let's have a look at it. This will be a wonderful surprise for your aunt. Where is it?
I don't know where that came from.
That's just the kind of noise that friggin' an old guy like that married a young woman would make. Anyways.
And then he got it suddenly when he wasn't for the punch, did you?
And then he got it suddenly when he wasn't set for the punch, and he rocked back on his heels. He exclaimed, and perhaps for a minute there was one of the scariest silences I've ever run up against.
Is this a practical joke?
He said at last, in a way that set about 16 draughts cutting through the room at once. I thought it was up to me to rally round old Corky. You want to stay a bit farther away from it, I said.
You're perfectly right.
He snorted.
I do. I want to stand so far away from it that I can't see the thing with the telescope.
Oh no, I can't see the thing with the telescope.
Yeah, I was going to say. He turned on Corky like an untamed tiger from the jungle who had just located a chunk of meat.
Behind this, This is what you've been wasting your time and my money for all these years. A painter? I wouldn't let you paint a house of mine. I gave you this commission thinking that you were a competent worker, and this extract from a comic-coloured supplement is the result.
He swung towards the door, lashing his tail and growling to himself.
This ends it. If you want to continue this foolery of pretending to be an artist because you want an excuse for idleness, please yourself. But let me tell you this, unless you report at my office on Monday morning, prepared to abandon all this idiocy and start in at the bottom of the business to work your way up, as you should have done half a dozen years ago. Sorry. Not another cent, not another cent, not another bush.
Bush.
Oh, shit.
You all right?
Yeah.
Okay. Then the door closed and he was no longer with us, and I crawled out of the bomb-proof shelter. Corky, old top, I whispered faintly. Corky was staring at the picture. His face was set. There was a hunted look in his eye.
Well, that finishes it.
He muttered brokenly. What are you going to do?
Do? What can I do? I can't stick on here if he cuts off supplies. You heard what he said. I shall have to go to the office on Monday.
I couldn't think of a thing to say. I knew exactly how he felt about the office. I don't know when I've been so infernally uncomfortable. It's like hanging around trying to make conversation to an old pal who'd been sentenced to 20 years in quad. And then a soothing voice broke into the silence.
If I might make a suggestion, sir.
It was Jeeves. He had slid from the shadows and was gazing gravely at the picture. Upon my word, I can't give you a better idea of the shattering effect of Corky's Uncle Alexander when in action than by saying that he had absolutely made me forget for a moment that Jeeves was there.
I wonder if I ever happened to mention to you, sir, a Mr. Digby Thistleton, with whom I was once in service. Perhaps you've met him. He was a financier. He is now Lord Bridgenorth. It was a favourite saying of his that there is always a way. The first time I heard him use the expression was after the failure of a patent depilatory which he promoted.
Jeeves, I said, what on earth are you talking about?
I mentioned Mr. Thistleton, sir, because his was, in some respect, a parallel case to the present one. His depilatory failed, but he did not despair. He put it on the market again under the name of Hairo, guaranteed to produce a full crop of hair in a few months. It was advertised, if you remember, sir, by a humorous picture of a billiard ball before and after taking, and made such a substantial fortune that Mr. Thistleton was soon afterwards elevated to the peerage for service to his party. It seems to me that if Mr. Corcoran looks into the matter, he will find, like Mr. Thistleton, that there is always a way. Mr. Worple himself suggested the solution of the difficulty. In the heat of the moment, he compared the portrait to an extract from a coloured comic supplement. I consider the suggestion a very valuable one, sir. Mr. Corcoran's portrait may not have pleased Mr. Worple as a likeness of his only child, but I have no doubt that editors would gladly consider it as a foundation for a series of humorous drawings. If Mr. Corcoran will allow me to make the suggestion, his talent has always been for the humorous. There is something about this picture, something bold and vigorous, which arrests the attention. I feel sure it would be highly popular.
Corky was glaring at the picture and making a sort of dry sucking noise with his mouth. He seemed completely overwrought. And then suddenly he began to laugh in a wild way. Corky, old man, I said, massaging him tenderly. I feared the poor blighter was hysterical. He began to stagger about all over the floor.
He's right. The man's absolutely right. Jeeves, you're a lifesaver. You've hit on the greatest idea of the age. Report at the office on Monday. Start at the bottom of the business. I'll buy the business if I feel like it. I know the man who runs the comic section of the Sunday Star. He'll eat this thing. He was telling me only the other day how hard it was to get a good new series. You'll give me anything I ask for. A real win like this. I've got a gold mine. Where's my hat? I've got an income for life. Where's that confounded hat? Lend me a $5, buddy. I want to take a taxi down to Park Row.
Jeeves smiled paternally, or rather, he had a kind of paternal muscular spasm about the mouth, which was the nearest he ever gets to smiling.
If I might make the suggestion, Mr. Corcoran, for a title of the series which you have in mind, The Adventures of Baby Blobs.
Corky and I looked at the picture, then at each other in an odd way. Jeeves was right. There could be no other title. Jeeves, I said, it was a few weeks later, and I had just finished looking at the comic section of the Sunday Star. I'm an optimist. I always have been. The older I get, the more I agree with Shakespeare and those poet Johnnies about it always being darkest before the dawn. And there's a silver lining in what you lose in the swings, you make up in the roundabouts. I don't think Shakespeare ever said that. Look at Mr. Cochrane, for instance. There's a fellow, one might have said, clear up to the eyebrows in the soup. To all appearances, he had got it right in the neck. Yet look at him now. Have you seen these pictures?
I took the liberty of glancing at them before bringing them to you, sir. Extremely diverting.
They've made a big hit, you know.
I anticipated it, sir.
I leaned back against the pillows. You know, Jeeves, you're a genius. You ought to be drawing a commission on these things.
I have nothing to complain of in that respect, sir. Mr. Corcoran has been most generous. I am putting out the brown suit, sir.
No, I think I'll wear the blue one with the faint red stripe.
Not the blue with the faint red stripe, sir?
I rather fancy myself in it.
Not the blue with the faint red stripe, sir.
Oh, all right, have it your own way.
Very good, sir. Thank you, sir.
Of course, I know it's as bad as being henpecked, but then Jeeves is always right. You've got to consider that, you know. What?
That was fun. The problem I have is the word decanting brings up an image of the kid being sieved through fine cloth. I had to hold it together when they said they beamed him on the head.
I just had an image more of like, rather than being sieved, just like pouring a kid into the pram, just because you know how they can go boneless sometimes, like a cat, and just
in you go. That'll do.
Exactly.
Northwind says, good Jeeves on radio is Michael Horden, and Richard Bryce was a good Bertie on the radio. Wow. I'm not very good at doing Jeeves.
You're brilliant at doing Jeeves. I'm doing my best at trying to channel Hugh Laurie, of course, to varied success, I think. But yeah,
you are indeed emulating Hugh Laurie very well.
That's the image I have in my. I'll never see Bertie Wooster as anybody else than Hugh Laurie. I just love that. Like, I mean, just at the very beginning, I was rewatching the series on YouTube this morning. I was telling Ink about it, but just the acting that Hugh Laurie does when he first tries Jeeves' hangover cure. He goes through about 5 different expressions and bodily spasms, and then I say.
I'm so glad you enjoyed that. I really am. And we binged all of the. We binged absolutely all of them, and because I love Hugh Laurie anyway, I've loved him right back since the comic strip days, and the Cambridge Footlights days.
Yeah, I have nothing but the utmost respect for Stephen Fry and Hugh Laurie. I think honestly, there are a number of comedians that I think would be better off running the country than some of their politicians are. Like, if I was, I think Stephen Fry would make the best prime minister that the country's ever had, frankly.
Yes, Hugh Laurie would be a great foreign secretary, I think.
I agree, and that's funny because in the other book series that I was working on, the 2 that I have on I'm not plugging them, but because I'm not going to say the name, but I was directed by the author for the guy James, you know, the main character's father. to read him as Hugh Laurie, and he was like a foreign ambassador, and
Mhm.
and I could totally see Hugh Laurie in that plug. No, I'm not plugging. I didn't say the name.
You plug away, sweetie. That's the books that Bear's narrated are actually brilliant. He did such a good job on them, and I look forward to the next one very much so.
Yeah, I do need
And
to.
I think you should. I think you should plug your book because you don't advertise it, and you really should. Stephen Fry, a bit of a snob. I don't. I mean, he can be aloof, and it depends on the context. I'm a massive fan of his. I'm really loving his audiobooks. His retelling of the Greek mythology, which that's something else that we could do, to be perfectly honest, is the stories of Greek mythology. But yeah, he can be considered a bit of a snob because he is considered more from that echelon, as it were. But I think he's actually quite humble as well. He can laugh at himself, which I think is really important.
Yeah,
and
I've
yeah,
seen
I
it.
never thought Laurie would have gone on to do a serious role in House. I loved House.
Yeah,
it's brilliant.
I saw him. I saw Hugh Laurie on Graham Norton, and they asked him if he had if he ever did he ever was he ever able to do the American accent without thinking, if just be able to switch over from one to the other? And he said no. He said he had to concentrate on every word the entire time he ever had to drop his accent.
Exactly. And yes, he was fantastic in St. Trinian's. And you know something? I didn't want to like St. Trinian's because I absolutely loved Thelwell Ponies and the St. Trinian's cartoons when I was very young. They were fantastic. And the black and white St. Trinian's films with the just with Flash Harry and all that sort of thing, they were fantastic. So to actually see it remade in a sort of noughties, as in the 2000s style, it took a minute. It took a minute, but it was okay. It was okay. I've seen better, but it was okay. Yeah.
That is my favorite term for that time period, by the way, and I wish that we had adopted it here.
What, the naughties?
Naughties, yeah, because it saying not for nothing isn't something that is generally used here, but I think it sounds so much better than saying the 2000s.
Mm-hmm. Now, I don't think Rowan Atkinson. What do you mean? Difficult to do his voice, or?
Oh, he would be difficult. He would be difficult for me to do because, as far as doing the voice, because he's definitely has a pitch and a voice that would. Yeah, I would have a hard, especially. Yeah, I don't think I could do his voice very well at all. Maybe I could.
The thing when you do Rowan Atkinson is you've got to really, really emulate your consonants, like Baldrick.
He's also got a little bit
really...
of his voice is a little bit of just a little bit nasal,
Yeah, I have a hard time. You drama queen. I don't know.
I don't know. I think he's quite fun. He's quite, I saw one the other day where I don't know if you saw the opening of the 2012 Olympics, but his opening to that was fantastic because the sort of Chariots of Fire thing where it's like dun 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 dun. That's the synth bass.
Oh yes.
Thing, and he's there and he's doing this one key, and then there's a lad next to him playing the on the piano. And looks around at him and he's sneers at him God. He is incredibly funny. Oh, it makes me absolutely howl. And I would say though, he is a superb talent in his genre, because he is definitely a really good character actor, and he's a really good kind of physical actor, I think.
Well, that's the thing is half of the Monty Python crew came through Cambridge Footlights,
Yeah.
and none of actually no, I don't know about Graham, but Graham Chapman, but most of them come from pretty they were pretty solid middle, lower middle class, so I wouldn't call any of them posh.
The thing is, to get into Cambridge, though, it's so very, very difficult.
Yes.
The lads, when I worked on the doors back in the day, because I used to work on the doors part-time, but the lad I actually trained how to be a doorman, he studied and studied and studied, and he got into Cambridge. He came from quite a working class background, but he studied his backside off to get into Cambridge, and now he owns one of the biggest security companies in the UK.
Good on him.
Yeah, so I'm like, freaking good on you. You know, at the end of the day, he deserves it because he worked that hard. So, I mean, I understand what you mean about there's a lot of people get more access to Cambridge because they're richer and they come from certain schools. But there are also people that get into Cambridge because they've worked their backsides off.
Yes. Yeah. North. I knew that. Chapman and Cleese were from Cambridge. They both did the footlight things. I just can't remember if Graham Chapman came from like a more privileged background or not. But I knew John Cleese didn't. But yeah, so yeah, because it was Cleese and Chapman, and I think Eric Idle was Cambridge as well, and the other two were Terry Jones and Michael Palin were from Oxford, and then of course they had their token American that did the that did the animations.
And if I could interject as well with that one, don't forget it wasn't just them. You had French and Saunders, you had Rick Mail and Ed Edmondson, you had Robbie Coltrane, you know, you had all of these people who were part of the kind of Cambridge Footlights stroke comic strip. Alexi Seal, he was also part of the comic strip. But yeah, exactly, there you go. So it's, I think, while communicating in Cambridge can sometimes create a certain type of posh accent, for example, it's just because of that's who you're surrounded by for 4 years while you're doing your degree. And Cleveland, indeed.
I think they have. Go ahead.
No, you carry on.
So I think particularly at that time period of Cleese and Chapman, I think adopting that attitude was probably a means of self-preservation to fit in and get by.
Absolutely. That's a very good point. Yeah, absolutely. Because it's like at the end of the day, it's like although people do get are able to get into Cambridge because they come from a particular school and have a very high education because of that particular school, you still have to pass the exams. You don't just pay your way in. Well, I don't think they do. No, because it won't get you to pass your exams, as it were.
But as you say, coming from
your brother.
But as you say, coming from a more privileged background makes it more easy to get the education you need in order to get in. You know, so they just have to work harder if they're. I mean, listening to how class division was still. I mean, it still is, but the way it was prevalent in the 50s and 60s in England at the time was very interesting.
Yes, it was indeed. I was also, Northman, I was saying with Dee that I will be hoping to add a segment on Sundays if it comes about, and it will be the origins of certain words in the medieval days that are quite odd sounding and strange customs from that time coming up to the present day, because I like it when things are weird and wacky and kind of just odd. So we look back on it now and go, Scrabble pumpers? What?
Scrabble pumpers?
You know what I mean? Yeah. That's not quite the way. I think it's cobble scrobbler or scrabble cobbler. But yes. Yeah, exactly. History is awesome.
Michael Palin does as well.
Yeah, exactly. And that's why Michael Palin does all the animations, doesn't he? No, hold on.
No, that was Terry Gilliam.
Terry Gilliam. So there you go. Yeah, but you see that all the historical figures are actually in his artworks.
Yes.
You know, but yeah, I think history is awesome, and too many people forget about history or say it's boring, and it isn't. It's awesome.
They say, you know what they say about those who neglect history? They're doomed to repeat it.
Yes. I was about to say, no, I can't remember. I can't think back that far. But I kind of like missed the timing of the joke there.
Stay away from the okay.
Really?
Get in trouble these days. What?
Huh? Yes, he did. Michael Payne's travel shows were fantastic. So are Richard Ayoade's, actually. They are fantastic as well.
Yes.
He is a legend as far as
I
I'm
think that's
concerned.
probably where he took inspiration from to do those.
No doubt.
Michael Palin, yeah.
No doubt. I'm thinking we might not get to, because it's coming up to 9:30, sweetie.
Yeah, exactly. It is.
Yeah. That's
What?
it.
What means something very different right now?
I'm going to have to look this up because I have got no clue.
The wood used to burn
the wood
witches.
used to burn witches.
Curious now.
That's a bit of trivia for the day, isn't it?
Oh my goodness.
It's like when we talk about things being a bit different now. It's kind of like when we're reading through these Jeeves and Wooster stories, and he talks about Johnnies, as in the people, when it actually means something completely different in the UK.
Yeah, I'm not
Believe it or not.
on anything about that.
It means prophylactic.
Oh no, I'm talking about the wood to burn witches. But yeah, the Johnnies, yeah.
It means annoying Harley Davidson riders.
Do what?
I'm really confused. I think the chat might have gone off a bit of a tangent.
Yeah, you're gonna have to specify that, D. Well, I think we're a bit lost on that one. What are we talking about though? Huh.
Oh, a joke from South Park. Oh my goodness. Oh, I'm so sorry. I was like completely.
Yeah,
I was like, what?
That's why neither of us got it.
I love South Park. Well, I loved
just
South Park.
I just don't
haven't watched
follow
it in a
it,
great many years.
Exactly. That's why.
I think the last time I actually really watched it was when they did the Game of Thrones thing.
Yes.
How far back that was. Tell me, I don't watch much TV. We do now. We know now. Oh, I love speaking to you guys. It's absolutely awesome. It really is. But
yes,
I'm gonna have to call it because I need to call it. So I don't think we're gonna get a chance to do the Three Musketeers tonight.
Next time.
We'll do it next time, and we'll be back on Saturday, hopefully with some more good news for you guys. And
thank you all for coming.
I really would like to do the origins of these words and silly histories. Silistries. But thank you for being here. We appreciate you, and have lots of good sleeps and good rests. Sorry.
Yes. No, have a wonderful
Never
week.
be sorry. We love your waffle. Seriously, I like so far that we're not just reading the books, but we're interacting and we're chatting on, and it's lovely. Never stop, please, as much as you can. Just, we love having you here. It's everything, but it's Sunday and I'm tired. So take care and big love from me.
And bear up. Bye now.
Yeah.